you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm pretty good.
We got a call just basically that you were just reporting vehicles about the because that we're driving around on IBC.
Okay, what happened?
Sorry?
What happened? Yeah, what happened?
It was just that we had received a call that you were reporting vehicles while they were passing by the IBC.
Okay.
Are you from the area?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an idea on you? Just have this question that I can
This is a consensual encounter?
No, we actually got a call.
How come it's not consensual?
Well, because we had parties that were asking for me to check out with you.
Is there a crime being broken?
No, there isn't.
So it's consensual then, right?
Well, it's not consensual because if it's consensual, then that would be just me making contact with you without me being just dispatched to you.
Well, since there's not a crime, then you have no investigation, right?
No, it isn't. That's the reason why I'm here. I didn't know that you were standing behind the IBC bank.
It's suspicion of crime?
No, it's not.
So you have no reason to be here, right?
No, I do. I'm advising you that I got a call.
Oh, okay. So I think what you would do is make contact with them then.
No, because I don't know.
Oh. So you just got an anonymous call?
Yeah, just this.
Okay. Well, I don't really give ID.
You're required to right now because obviously I got a call. It's not a consensual encounter.
I'm only required to give ID. I believe it's 3802 Penal Code. I'm only required to give ID if I'm lawfully arrested. I'm not lawfully arrested.
Well, no. Obviously, if you're arrested, then yes.
Right.
Obviously, you're required to give your information. But what I'm trying to make you understand is this isn't.
The video begins with a calm but telling interaction. A man is simply recording in public when officers approach, responding to a call about someone filming vehicles near a bank. No crime is reported, no damage, no threat, just concern. The tone starts polite, almost routine, but quickly shifts when the officer asks for identification. The citizen responds with a key question. Is this a consensual encounter? That single moment defines everything that follows. The officer hesitates, then insists it's not consensual simply because dispatch sent them. But that's where the foundation cracks. A call alone does not create suspicion. The citizen calmly points this out, exposing the first layer of confusion. What should be a simple check-in begins turning into a deeper misunderstanding of authority and limits.
I just didn't drive by here and just say, hey, okay, let me check out this guy. That's not what happened.
Okay, so
I didn't know that you were out here.
You're right.
Okay?
So in terms of your investigation was a suspicious person.
Yeah, that's how the call came. And obviously you're not doing anything wrong. I mean, I can see that you're just standing here with your phone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not. You know what I mean?
So
and
why
you're not in any trouble.
I mean, I wouldn't know that. If I surrender my Fourth Amendment, I could be wanted. Then I'd be surrendering Fourth Amendment, then I could be in trouble. I'm just saying, in hypothetical scenarios, we watch cops all the time, right? It still comes on TV. When someone surrenders their Fourth Amendment, such as their ID, you guys run that through NCIS, and then you go, or ASIS, you're right, and you run their system, their information is the warrants. So now they surrendered their Fourth Amendment, then they're subject to arrest.
Okay, so do you understand the reason why you're here?
Yeah,
I totally understand that, but that would be like in a whole different circumstance, right? This isn't a traffic stop or anything like that. It's
Right.
not a casual encounter. You can just surrender your information. We did get a call that you were out here reporting vehicles. Again, you're not committing any crime. The only thing is that I got dispatched here.
Okay. No rings. You're not married?
No.
Why not? Don't need to be? Oh, wow.
You mind? I'll be out of your hair. It's kind of hot out here. You can continue.
It's a good shade. Look at this shade tree. Unfortunately, I cannot assist you with your investigation. That's not my job. I'm not going to do that. So even identifying me will be assisting you with your investigation.
Well, the thing is that I don't know it. I don't know you personally.
You're not supposed to. I'm a private citizen.
Yeah, of course. So
Right.
what I'm saying is I got dispatched here.
Well, you got to know.
So it's not a consensual encounter, right? You do have to identify, is what I'm saying.
I don't have to identify.
Because it isn't a...
How long you been an officer?
A few years.
Few years. I got a question. This is hypothetical speaking. This is not, I'm not insinuating that this is a hypothetical conversation. When officers encounter a member of the public, and a member of the public explains to them their right. Okay.
I can hear you. I can multitask.
Okay. Name?
How's it going? Officer McGee.
Badge number?
747.
747.
As the conversation develops, the contradiction becomes impossible to ignore. The officer openly admits that no crime is being committed, yet continues to push for identification. The citizen explains a critical principle. Without reasonable suspicion or lawful detention, there is no obligation to provide ID. Still, the officer insists otherwise, leaning on the idea that being dispatched changes the nature of the interaction. It doesn't. The citizen even walks through a hypothetical scenario, explaining how voluntarily giving ID can expose someone to database checks and potential legal consequences unrelated to the current situation. The officer attempts to reassure him, but reassurance isn't law. This is where the Fourth Amendment quietly takes center stage, protecting individuals not from bad intentions, but from unlawful overreach.
Okay, just like a hypothetical question. I'm not insinuating nothing, but when officers encounter a member of the public and the member of the public state their rights or a penal code, why do officers never think that they're police? Is it because there's a code of conduct that says if you're a police, you wouldn't do this? If you're a police, you wouldn't be out here with a camera doing what you're doing. Is that like an internal thought process? Wow. So no one. So when I rewind this and play this, you're saying I gave an incomplete sentence? Well, then why don't you know what I'm talking about?
So right now we're obviously you're going off topic, right?
I'm supposed to because you have no reason to be here.
I do. I just explained that to you. We got a phone call, right? Is there somebody concerned? That's all it is, right?
And now you're here.
And now I'm here. So it's not a consensual encounter, like I mentioned. I just didn't drive by here and decide to talk to you.
You did.
I actually got up. We just came into shift getting control.
Well, the reason I say you did is because no one gave you a citation of a law being broken or a policy being broken. Therefore, for you to drive past and observe, you observe the suspicious person, which is me. You see no crime. You was given no crime. And you observe the suspicious person, which is me. And since you observed the suspicious person, hey, y'all body cameras rolling?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like she just finished explaining to you, we just got a call, right? You know, so whenever we get a call, you know, you're matching the description, we just, you know, come say what's up, right? Make sure you're good, you know what I mean?
But listen, I want to have a lower level conversation real quick. This is my hypothetical question. Why is it that when officers are called to the scene, even if it's not a crime, like what I'm doing right now, why is it that when you engage with a member of the public, when the member of the public state their rights, and if I state penal code, if I state case law, why is it that police officers never think, is he a police officer? It's almost like you guys be like, he's not a lawyer, he's not a police officer, whatever.
The discussion shifts from basic rights to deeper accountability. The citizen asks a thought-provoking question. Why do officers often dismiss legal knowledge from the public? Instead of engaging with the substance, the response drifts. A second officer joins, acknowledging different legal thresholds, reasonable suspicion, probable cause, but fails to clearly explain when identification is actually required. This creates a visible divide. One officer claims ID is mandatory, while the other subtly distances himself, saying, maybe she sees something I don't. That moment is critical. It reveals uncertainty within authority itself. When officers on the same scene cannot agree on the law, the situation stops being about enforcement and becomes about interpretation. An interpretation without clarity is where rights are most at risk.
Why is it that type of like posture?
Yeah, no, I mean, we listen to people, right? It's part of our job. When people are right, people are right. Oh, okay, you're right. You know what I mean?
Okay, now watch this. Is this a consensual encounter?
No.
Okay.
Just because it's a call for service.
Right, because it's a call for service.
Yeah.
But when it's a call for service, you guys are here to enforce the law.
Not necessarily.
Then what else do you enforce?
So like reasonable suspicion, right?
What's reasonable? That's articulable reason
What a
suspicion.
reasonable person would believe. You know what I mean?
Is that a penal code reason?
It's in the penal code.
It says articulable suspicion that a crime is being committed or about to be committed.
I don't know the definition actually. but reasonable suspicion, probable cause, they're all different levels.
Right.
But like I said, call for service, usually just reasonable suspicion. You know what I mean? It's not probable cause, right? Like,
Right.
Probable cause.
So that's no probable cause for me to ID. But that's not what she's saying. We're still here because she's saying I have to ID. No. Yeah, she's officer in charge.
Yeah.
But you still have a duty to correct any erroneous mistakes. Right. So
I don't see any mistakes on here. Right?
you just said I don't have to ID. I just told you she said I have to. Now you say you don't see a mistake.
Well, that's her call. Maybe she sees something that I don't.
Yeah. How you doing?
You're gonna be good if we leave.
Yeah.
Look, like I mentioned before, you're not committing a crime, right? And you're obviously aware of that, right?
Right.
You obviously got concerned citizens. You're recording, right?
But no,
So-
you're nice. But my thing is this: when a member of the public engages with law enforcement, we should be able to give our understanding also in such a way to you guys shouldn't be in a hurry to leave. Because if it was a real investigation, if I was breaking the law, you guys would take your time to detail a police report, what they call them, witnesses. You guys would take your time to get a full report.
Yeah. So since our time are limited, right? Like I mentioned earlier, with concerned citizens, we don't have any information to base on.
I know that, but I'm saying, like, since you don't have that,
We don't, and so that's the call came out.
Mhm.
Going after your description, you're obviously holding a camera, you're
Right.
recording. So that's all we have. That's all we have to work on. So that's why I'm making contact with you right now.
But for future reference, I just want you to know that that is not enough to ID someone. And I think you know that.
Now, the conversation becomes more analytical. The citizen continues pressing, not with aggression, but with logic. He breaks down the concept of reasonable suspicion, explaining that it must be tied to a specific, articulable crime. Simply receiving a call about a suspicious person does not meet that standard. The officers attempt to justify their presence as routine, emphasizing they are responding to concerned citizens. But concern is not evidence. The citizen highlights how observing someone recording in public does not create suspicion of wrongdoing. Slowly, the officers begin to shift tone. The urgency fades. The demand for ID weakens. What remains is a conversation that exposes how easily assumptions can replace legal standards when not properly challenged.
Probably got to update it, I think
it makes it easier, right? And like I mentioned, you're not in any trouble, like you had mentioned. I'm trying to make contact with you.
Right.
At the end of the day, I'm doing my job.
No, you are. But see,
Right.
part of your job is to enforce accurate law. If you're misinterpreting the law, now you're violating someone's rights unknowingly. You can do it knowingly or unknowingly. Like this gentleman. When you went to the car, he said, I did not have the ID. Now, that's counterproductive to what you said. So then when I told the gentleman, well, tell her that, then he said, well, it's not my stop. See, now we have a difference of understanding here. We got two law officers saying two different things. That is a problem. You should be on the same page. And then he said he doesn't know the exact penal code verbiage articulable suspicion. That's another bad thing because you have to know that to make a proper investigation or proper arrest.
I don't go into my business. Are you part of law? Or are you just something that you just study because you like it?
I'm definitely, I've been in government.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been in government, and so.
Look, like I mentioned, you're not in any trouble, and you haven't committed a crime, right? Like I have mentioned. You're gonna be good. You
But
won't have to
that's
be
not
called
good
out.
enough
Well, the thing is that
because you gave misinformation. You said I did not have the ID. Did you say that? And then when I said, well, tell her that, there's no proper cause. So then why did you say I have the ID?
well, because it wasn't a casual encounter.
It just make it easy. That's not a legitimate circumstance. I want to know the right answer. So I'm trying to get you guys to get on the same page. That's what I'm trying to do. I want to know, why did you say I don't have the ID? And why are you saying I do have the
I
ID?
did get dispatched. He didn't get dispatched.
Doesn't matter. He's law enforcement.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is he didn't blow my information. He didn't get dispatched to here. I have a call. Like I have an actual
This is
call
her
that I
responsibility.
I mean, there's always an officer in charge for any situation, but that doesn't mean you didn't know what's going on, right?
like I mentioned, I did get it. I have a call was created for me to be contacted. This isn't, like I mentioned, I just didn't have to drive up here and I'm on the other side of town when this call came.
Right.
So all I'm saying is,
Okay, let me ask you this. If I would have gave you my ID, would you have ran my name? Would you have ran it in the system?
no, I would have logged it in. Just that I made contact with you.
So you wouldn't have ran for warrants?
No, there's a difference. I can log it in, that I'm in contact with you, and obviously you haven't committed a crime, and running it through the NCIC, TCIC.
Attention turns toward a deeper issue: discretion and data. The citizen explains how providing identification often leads to warrant checks through national databases, even when no crime is suspected. One officer claims she would only log the interaction, not run the ID. But that raises a powerful question. How would any citizen know that in advance? That uncertainty is exactly why constitutional protections exist. The Fourth Amendment isn't based on trust, it's based on limits. Without clear legal grounds, collecting personal information becomes a fishing expedition. The officers attempt to maintain their position, but their reasoning circles back on itself. They admit there's no crime, yet still try to justify investigative steps. The contradiction becomes increasingly clear.
I mentioned it's totally different. I wouldn't have done that.
Now let me ask you this. How would a member of the public know when you're going to make that discretionary decision? But
Or you could have probably heard.
I've done it before. I've done it before. And I know, and that's the bad thing about law enforcement encounter. You know, when a member of the public says something that happened in the past, law enforcement says, well, that's a different situation. But when you guys encounter us, and you say, well, you could be doing this, you could be doing that, then we can say, well, that's a different situation. So it goes both ways, you know. Right.
Yeah, every situation is different. Unfortunately, we're here because, like I mentioned before, there's a call that I received, right? And that's basically, like I mentioned, you're not in any trouble or anything like that.
You guys got cards? Yeah. You can write the CAT number on there, this call for service number on there for me.
You want the CAT narrative?
Yeah. So you don't want to say you don't. So are you the kind of public official that don't correct their officers when they're wrong?
I don't know if you're right or wrong.
You don't know penal code?
I do.
What's penal code for ID?
For ID?
Yeah. What is the penal code for when a member of the public is required to identify themselves?
When they're suspected.
Right. Am I suspected of committing a crime? So
like I said, we got reasonable suspicion, we got probable cause, we got mere suspicion.
All that is separate though.
Yeah. But you're rambling on about all these different things.
I'm rambling?
Yeah, you can keep going different names.
Isn't that what you guys use to articulate an arrest or a citation? You use penal code, right? So when a member of the right. So when a member of the public brings up penal code, then they're rambling?
I mean, you don't really stay on one topic. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Because you guys have no reason to be here, so I have to use subject matter examples to get you guys to understand.
Well, it's like we do have a reason to be here, that's because it's called.
Now,
that doesn't mean we're, telling you, hey, you're committing a crime, whatever, right? But it's just a concerned citizen, right? Our citizens are responsible.
You're Daffy Duck. You need to touch up on your law and your fundamentals, because you are a casualty to the city, and you, by the way you interpret things, it's not good for law enforcement.
The case number,
it's information. You guys are here on this information call. Yes, I know.
Yeah.
No.
All
right. Hey, and always remember, every member of the public could be an FBI agent. They could be anybody. So when you give inaccurate representations of the law, you're opening yourself up to situations and circumstances. And we don't want to do that because the taxpayers have nothing to do with it. Okay.
In the final phase, the focus shifts to accountability and consistency. The citizen points out a critical flaw: two officers presenting two different interpretations of the same law. One insists ID is required, the other admits uncertainty. That inconsistency is not minor, it's systemic. Law enforcement authority must be grounded in clear legal standards, not situational judgment. As the conversation winds down, no citation is issued, no detention occurs, and no arrest is made. The officers disengage, but the lesson remains. This encounter wasn't about crime, it was about boundaries. It shows how quickly rights can be tested when knowledge is uneven, and it reinforces a simple truth. Understanding your rights isn't optional. It's essential, because when authority is uncertain, clarity must come from the citizen.